If you often cite a type of material that is not predefined in EndNote, you may want to create a custom reference type. I often cite conference posters that are not published in a journal or proceedings book, so I'm going to create a custom conference poster reference type. There are ways to work with existing reference types, such as using the conference paper type and tweaking the final citation as necessary, but I prefer having a separate reference type that I know will work properly with every citation style I use. The first step to creating this custom reference type is to familiarize myself with how conference posters are cited, so I know what information to include in the reference type. If you commonly use a specific citation style, you should refer to that style guide when creating a custom reference type. Here's an example for a conference poster citation that comes from the APA 7th Style Manual. And here's an example citation for a conference poster that uses the Chicago style. You can also see these examples below the video. We can see that both styles require the author, date of the conference or the presentation title, the name of the conference, and the location of the conference. They also request a link to the poster if available. Now that I know what information is required to cite a conference poster, I'll open my EndNote preferences and select Reference Types, then Modify Reference Types. I have several unused reference types, so I'll select Unused 1 to repurpose for my conference poster type. For each field required to properly cite a conference poster, I'll add a descriptor to let the user know what information to provide. These descriptors are to help you determine what goes in each field, so feel free to name them to whatever makes the most sense to you. The generic field typically includes the name of the reference type, so I'll assign it as conference poster. Author is an accurate descriptor for the author field, as are title for the title field. Both examples report the conference and location, so I'll describe the secondary title field as conference and the place published field as conference location. If I scroll down a bit, I see the date field. Chicago cites only the presentation date, but APA cites the conference dates. You should base the descriptor on what information is used for the reference style you use the most often. I use APA more often, so I'll call this conference date, but you might choose to use presentation date if your preferred style requires the date of the actual presentation. If you'd like your reference type to have both the option for the conference date and the presentation date, you could use an unused field and repurpose it by renaming the descriptor. Finally, I'll scroll down further to the URL field and describe it as presentation URL. If you commonly use any other field, such as the research notes or keyword fields, you might also want to add descriptors for those so that they show up in your custom reference type. When you've added the descriptors to all the fields necessary for a complete citation and your personal organization or workflow preferences, click OK on the Reference Types menu, then OK to close the preferences. Now when I go to enter a new citation, I can select the conference poster reference type and fill in the required information. In the next module, we will learn how to create citation and bibliography templates for this new reference style, so EndNote will create correct and accurate citations for conference posters.